Hey there, welcome to the February episode of Questions and Answers. If you want to ask me a question for March, I can't believe it's almost March. That's freaky. It's like New Year's Day was yesterday. But anyway, ask me on my group, Authors Selling Direct, which is a group for all things e-commerce for authors. Now, when I say e-commerce, I don't include Kickstarter, which is fantastic, but it's not e-commerce, let's face it. So when I say selling direct, I'm talking an e-commerce store. Okay, the first question is, should I have a double opt-in with my email newsletter service? And this is asked by Emily. Emily, are you mad? Of course you must have a double opt-in. Seriously, why would you even consider not? Okay, now Emily did say she'll get more subscribers. Yes, you will. You'll get plenty of bots. Do you want bots for subscribers? Do you want low quality subscribers? And besides, a double opt-in is a legal requirement in some parts of the world. I know some people who sell direct don't really care about legal requirements, but I really do. And otherwise, I'd be a bank robber or an international jewel thief. My sister always wanted to be an international jewel thief. I'd get good Christmas presents, wouldn't I? What a shame she didn't choose a life of crime. Anyway, back to Emily's question. Bots. Yes, you'll get plenty of bots, and it is a legal requirement in some parts of the world to have a double opt-in. Now, if someone can't be bothered to double opt-in, to do the double opt-in, what makes you think they're going to open and read your emails? Now, I sometimes wonder if this is an author selling on the retailer thing. You just want newsletter subscribers. You don't care who they are. You just want more and more and more of them, which is kind of wishful thinking, isn't it? I talked about this on one of my other videos, the wishful thinking syndrome. If you get like zillions of subscribers, you'll have a better chance of some of them buying from you, but you'll have an even better percentage of people buying from you if they're actual humans and not bots in the first place. And if they do a double opt-in, honestly, you don't even give it a second thought. Yes, you must have a double opt-in. Yes, definitely must. You must have a double opt-in. Now, the second question is from Samir, and he wants to know about Shopify. And he said, Shopify email seems pretty robust with the ability to add flows and automations, all with Shopify. So does Clavio still make sense, and does it convert better? Does what convert better? Clavio, yes, of course it converts better. Clavio is an email. It's an actual email service provider for e-commerce. Shopify is Shopify, and it's done this for people who don't want Clavio for whatever reason, or people who are starting out and don't have a send and they're despo, and what can they do? So Shopify goes, here you go. We'll give you the Shopify email, which isn't very good, let's face it. Now, say you wanted to win a horse race with a horse, obviously, because it's a horse race, but say I'm late for dinner, so I'm a bit hangry anyway, or a bit vacant because my carbs are low. But this is the thing. If you want to win a horse race with a racehorse, you don't go and get a beginner's pony, do you? So you don't put a beginner's pony next to this well-trained racehorse and say they're both horses. They both do the same thing. They can both gallop, so is one as good as the other? No, of course not. One isn't as good as the other. Shopify email is way down here. Clavio is way up there. Clavio can do all sorts of things that Shopify cannot do. Shopify can't do stuff based on behavior. So with Shopify emails, you can't set up flows based on whether Fred Blogs bought the first 3 books in your series, first 3 books, and you want to send Fred Blogs to the next 3 books in your series. Now, Shopify can't do that. It can't do intelligent stuff based on buyer behavior. It just can't. And Shopify cannot do a pop-up form, and I was going to say a pop-up email and SMS, but Shopify can't do SMS anyway. And SMS is absolutely wonderful. I talk about it in my book, which you can listen to for free on this channel. And of course, you might like to buy it, which would be nice for me, from my store. It's only $9.99 for an ebook. But back to the point, Shopify, think of Shopify email as a beginner pony and you're trying to win a horse race. Of course, Clavio is the racehorse. Clavio can do so much. It is developed for email marketing. That's all it does. Shopify has made its own email marketing for people who want to make a start and literally are living on noodles probably, because even if you could eat a decent meal, why wouldn't you spend that money on Clavio once you're off the free plan and make even more money? Business requires investment. If you don't have any money to invest, anyone who's read my story or knows my story knows I've been there and I've done that. I was dirt poor. I was a single mother with 3 kids. I was dirt poor. I didn't have a cent, literally. I would run around the house looking for money behind sofas and things like that. But if you're in that situation, have Shopify email. But if you're not, you must have Clavio. Seriously, it's chalk and cheese. It can do so much. It can do so much that Shopify email cannot do. And I'll put a link below. Sure, it's my affiliate link. Makes no difference to you, though, unless, of course, you have a grudge against me. So there you go. Now, the next question is from James. What's a good conversion rate for cold traffic, and do you have any advice on how to improve it? Okay, if you go to Dr. Google, you'll find some people will say 2.5, some people will say 4, some will say 3.15. But the point is, don't worry about this. Don't get your knickers in a twist about this, about conversion rate. When I say you, I mean everyone, not anyone in particular. The thing is, you must have a properly converting store. That's what you do about it. Now, time and time again, people say to me, I've got a Shopify store. I don't need any help. I have a Shopify store. Gosh, honestly. And they have the most horrendous basic errors on their Shopify store. So if you want a good conversion rate, fix your store. A good conversion rate is all about the user experience. Users, if users don't have a good user experience, they will flee your store and you will have a bad conversion rate. So this is a very good question because it did mention cold audience. And if you go to my last video on audiences, you will see what hot, warm, and cold audiences are. And as I'm always saying, someone might blow up on TikTok or someone might be a long-term 7-figure author on Amazon. They open up a Shopify store and they do very well. And they post their figures all over Facebook and everyone goes, that's fantastic. Then you never hear from them again. Or they might post saying, oh, they don't know what's happened. I tell you what's happened. What's happened is that they were leveraging their hot and warm audiences. They've simply got those audiences over from the retailers to their store. And when cold audiences go to their store, they have a dreadful user experience. And as we all know, if you've listened to my other videos, someone makes a buying decision within 7 seconds, they just flee. Now, typically I see things like I'll go to a store and I'll see things like add-ons. Now, why, as above the fold, why would somebody want to add on to something they do not want to buy in the first place? Why would they? They wouldn't. Now, I was just saying the other day, I really like handbags, as we call them in Australia, or as you call them, purses in many parts of the world. I'm quite obsessed with them. But if I went to someone's store and I saw this disgusting, hideous, what I would think wasn't my taste, in other words, it might be lovely to other people, but if I saw something I didn't like and it was a hideous purse, and they say you can have these add-ons, even if the add-ons were super cheap, I'd click out of there at once. Why would I care? Why would I care if adding on to something I don't want, that I'm not buying in the first place? Or if I go there and I see something and I think, oh, I don't know if I want this or not, but there's no information about it. Above the fold, all they say is add-ons. You do not lead with add-ons. Don't lead with add-ons. That's super important. Lead with hook information about the product. You want to tell people why they want to buy the product. This is the wonderful information why they would want to buy your book, your product. You don't lead with add-ons and you don't lead with download information. As I always say till I blue in the face, don't put those dreadful, dreadful images of how to download your book above the fold. I mean, you shouldn't have them at all. They're very bad for SEO and they're in contravention of web accessibility guidelines and laws. So that's just 2 reasons why you shouldn't have them. But even if you insist on having them for some dreadful reason known only to yourself, stick them below the fold. Don't put them above the fold, because no one is going to give a you-know-what about how to download something they don't even want in the first place. Now, this is not what I'm saying. I don't have these opinions. I base everything on evidence. And this is simple e-commerce practice. And people do often say to me, what method do you follow? I don't follow a method. I don't believe in secret sauce or special methods. Go out there and look at all the 8-figure brands. Do they stick to some weird secret method that someone's invented to sell to other people? No, they don't. They use sound e-commerce principles. And all I do is teach sound e-commerce principles. I don't have my own weird ideas. I don't have inventions. I haven't invented this method or that method or whatever to try to sell to people. I just teach sound e-commerce principles that are evidence-based. I'm a former academic. I'm obsessed with evidence. I'm like completely obsessed with evidence, like probably I need committing really to be committed, because I'm overly obsessed with evidence. But anyway, but the point is, to improve your conversion rate, you need to have a properly converting store. For example, one of the basic errors is to have an ebook in an image of, say, a paperback, a 3D paperback image. You can't stress enough that it's an ebook. For example, if it is an ebook, if it's a paperback, don't have it in an ebook frame. Have to have like guide expectations and have a good user experience for the customer. Don't have a quantity selector on digital products. Make sure you have a good buy button color, and the list goes on and on and on and on. And I will link to my course below. I will actually give you a discount to my course below for a set period of time. But back to the questions. And the next question is from Reed. And Reed says, which Shopify app do you recommend for upsells? I can't read my own typing. For upsells, including bundle discounts. I always dictate onto my phone. You'd think that improved dictation, wouldn't you? But anyway. So, okay, frequently bought together. I don't get a cent from them. I'm not an affiliate, but I absolutely love frequently bought together. I have it on all my stores. It's fantastic. I think so anyway. I absolutely love it. So frequently bought together for cross sells, and for upsells, I recommend Reconvert. I'll put the link below for Reconvert. It is wonderful. It can do so many amazing things. If you don't want to get Reconvert, you can get Looks. It has a good upsell as well, but it's like a more of a basic one. I'll put the link to Looks below as well. So they're the two I recommend, or the three. I love frequently bought together, and I also like Reconvert. If you're starting out and you can't go with Reconvert, then the review app Looks, which I highly, highly, highly recommend as a review app. It's just amazing. Also does an upsell. And while I'm on the subject, no one's asked me this time, but they've asked me 65 bazillion times on my Facebook group, Authors Selling Direct. Can you scrape Amazon reviews? Can you put Amazon reviews on your store? No, 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 no. No, you can't, of course not, because the reviewer owns the copyright. Don't push back on me with this. It's a fact. The reviewer owns the copyright. So if you use someone's review without their permission, you are breaching their copyright. And authors don't. We don't like our copyright being breached, do we? People always carry on and complain, and rightly so, about pirate sites. So how would you like it if it happened to you? So, I mean, even though the reviewers aren't being paid, it's still their copyright and you've got no right to steal it. Leave it alone. And don't say to me, which so many people say, oh yes, but I use this review app and it will scrape reviews from Amazon. I mentioned bank robbers before. Just because you can do it doesn't mean it's legal. Otherwise, the police wouldn't need to be in business, would they? Use some common sense, for goodness sake. E-commerce is all about common sense. It's not about secret sources. It's not about bizarre methods people have invented to try to sell you something. It's basic common sense. And to get back to the point, people think their store might not be doing well. And they think, I'm going to go and look at Fred's method of such and such, and Mary's method of this and that and whatever. But you don't need to do that. You don't need to look for a secret source or a silver bullet or a secret method as to why your store isn't doing well. follow the basics, get the basics right, and get your store the best it can be by following the basics and getting the basics right. I see so many people jump from one thing to the next in search of the holy grail for their store, thinking they'll find a method that will make them sell better. Their stores are an absolute hot mess. They don't need to go looking for all these secret things. All they need to do is fix their own stores in the first place. That's all they need to do. Well, that's all for this month, and I want to answer the March questions in a couple of weeks. So if you have any questions, please ask them under the post on my Facebook group, Author Selling Direct. I'll have quite a few links for you down below this time. And if you want me to answer a question or do a tutorial on a specific topic, also feel free to ask me about that as well. I also have a blog. If you go to my website, authorsellingdirect.com, just click blog and you will see my blog, which, if I do say so myself, has very helpful posts. Okay, well, that's all for now. Please like and subscribe.